What's up, Rockstars? Today we're going to be talking about the future of board games. Thank you to my channel sponsor Into the AM. As a company that believes hard work and a great product is a proper way to conduct business, I am delighted to have them as part of the channel. They have some of the coolest graphic t-shirts around and an absolute best fit and feel that has continually exceeded my expectations. With new shirts arriving all the time and other products like boxers, hats, and even a monthly shirt club, I wholeheartedly recommend them to you. Check out the link in my description of this video for an exclusive 10% off everything they sell. Now, as always, a huge shout out to my patrons and YouTube members. It is through their financial support that this channel is possible. If you appreciate the videos I make every single week for you guys, and you can give even $1 a month, there is a link down in the description below. Thank you so very much. It's truly an honor to have you guys with me. But regardless of that, let's just have fun with this one. So, the future of board games is a tough subject to tackle, right? Because who knows, right? Well, I have some ideas, and that's really just looking at trends and looking at other industries, looking at kind of society at large and everything in between, businesses and whatnot. And one thing that I'm sure you've noticed is a direct push towards two things, really. And this is not just looking at crowdfunded board games. This is talking about retail board games as well. Really just board games in general, because it's kind of a mix and match. Anything from even tabletop gaming and otherwise. So let's actually just kind of put all of our pieces out on the table. There's been a big push with IP-based things. Right now, Monopoly has been IP based for like forever, right? You get different flavors of Monopoly, all that. But I mean, you're seeing that with everything from Zombicide to everything in between. You know, Catan's always done that. You get the stuff like the Munchkins and the Love Letters and pretty much anything that could have Batman put onto it. I think he's been on there already by now. Magic the Gathering has been doing that a lot. They've been doing Warhammer ones and D&D ones and all sorts of other themes and IP to do that, because at the end of the day, what it is you're bringing the fans of the game plus the fans of the IP, and you combine that to a bigger audience and gain more money. It's also typically an excuse to be able to make more money, because you can even charge a bit more and just say, oh, the IP costs more, and not talk about quantity of sold items, so that you can excuse a higher price as well and double dip a little bit. So it's very profitable to do IP. It's almost free advertising, especially because suddenly you have multiple things doing that. For instance, how many times have you seen a board game advertised on something like Polygon? And that's because it'll use a video game IP to kind of get shooed in there, right? So IP is a big thing. Now, another thing that's also been trending up is a mobile experience of some kind. We see a lot more narrative games use narrative-based apps, right? That's a big thing now, is doing that. We have seen whole companies like Fantasy Flight Games and such really have almost an entire dedicated section focused on mobile gaming and mobile games running board games. We have seen a plethora, especially in the crowdfunding space, of smart tablet tables and, you know, things that hook up to your phone and track your dice and, you know, like the Teberu system and stuff like that. And there's a big focus on doing that. And we're at the point now in the industry where I think companies are trying to figure them out a little bit, trying to figure out what they can and can't do on that, because there's pros and cons to mobile gaming. And this is not me trying to say mobile games are bad or good or anything like that. But from a business standpoint, it puts the ball in the business's court, which is preferable to the business, of course. See, when I buy a board game that doesn't involve some kind of mobile device, doesn't involve technology really of any kind, I can play that anywhere. I don't need electricity even, right? I can play it 30 years from now. It is mine to use and abuse and change and do all of that. And that means a few things. That means that I can house rule things. It means that I can, you know, adjust things as desired, or, you know, even proxy stuff in that I don't even own, or want to change things out if I like different art or a different character or something like that. That's what that provides. However, the negative is I have to remember all the rules and all that kind of stuff, right? And so they can bring a lot of benefit in streamlining the board games. One of the reasons that actually holds board games down a little bit, but also gives them their charm, is the fact that they're a tactile experience. But then you get these big honking rule books full of rules, because whereas in a video game, you hold down the right trigger and you shoot the guy and it does all that for you. In a board game, it's a 12-step process. First, you check if you're in cover. Then you check how many dice you do. Then you see if you use any abilities. And then you do this. And then you roll. And then they defend. And then, it's this whole song and dance just to shoot a gun once. Do you have line of sight? How do you do that? Do you got like little laser pointers, or what's going on? Or draw 2 imaginary lines from the hex. And if they cross any other line, all that stuff kind of is both pros and cons depending on how you look at it. And of course, an online thing can do that. For instance, Conan from Monolith, or the Batman version, Batman Gotham City Chronicle, also by Monolith, they have their maps, and they have a web app that you can click on one of the areas and it shows what it has line of sight to anywhere. And so you can instantly tell through that, doing that. And honestly, while I know the rules and I can look at the symbols on the map and all that, it's easier just to have a phone out there and tap the little button, and then you know where it is. And you don't have to question it. You don't have to go look it up, or, are you sure? There's none of that. It's just, well, yeah, the app shows it. That's how it is. But it puts it in their court because they could change that line of sight. They could change things and adjust things. Imagine how expensive it is, especially nowadays, to ship an errata or a new version of a rule book or fixed cards or something like that. When I was playing the Teberu system and I had the cards that were digital, one of the nice things about that is they can adjust that as needed. They can continue to balance that and change things. Now that means I don't have control over that anymore. So if they change it in a way I don't like, that's bad. But if they change it in a way I do like, well, that's super useful, because I didn't have to go ship anything. I didn't have to swap anything out. I have to unsleeve them and sleeve them back in, whatever. They can just update the text on the digital card and they're good to go. That level of creative freedom, of balance, of errata, of new things. Imagine now if they wanted to release an expansion, they could just release a digital expansion of cards. They don't need to manufacture anything. They don't need to ship anything. In a world now where not only is the industry continuing to look at technology and how it can incorporate and meld the two things together. So people are sitting around a table with their friends and family and some physical opponents while being benefited and assisted with a digital area that they can creatively control is already present. But then combine the shipping, the logistics, the sheer cost of making these board games and stuff like that. All of that combines to where I think that is honestly the future of board games. Is not all, but I think a good chunk and continuing to grow portion of the industry will continue to digitize different amounts, right? So we might not get the virtual cards, the digital cards in every single game, but we're going to get more than just one or more than just two. That's going to continue to tempt any kind of creative mind to where they could continue to create and forever create and never stop creating. And of course, lastly, I want to point out, obviously, the financial benefits to this. If you look at something like Diablo Immortal, of course, from Blizzard. This is a company that typically made these big, huge games that they sold you, and you're like, I can't believe this is only $60 kind of thing, to now hey, we want to make $1 billion in a month by selling microtransactions and loot boxes and stuff like that. So as we already kind of have the booster pack kind of style in our sphere of board gaming, of card gaming, tabletop gaming, how long until you want to get a terrain pack and you're trying to open to the rarest terrain and get that, and then you're able to use that, or you want to pick an item. Well, you can either go out and adventure and get a chest in Gloomhaven, or you could just pay it 99 cents and get a treasure chest to open up. And then, of course, if you want to, you can keep opening them up to pimp out your character in Gloomhaven for your digital character or digital card set or whatever it might be. Eventually, that's the threshold. We haven't crossed it yet, but I think it's going to happen, and probably fairly soon. Eventually, there's going to be a company that makes a game that's good enough to warrant it, and it's going to slide in. What they do, what businesses, what industries do, is they increment ever so slightly over towards that, right? Until eventually, you look back and you're like, wait a second, how did we get here? And then it's been 3 years of this leading up to this, right? So it starts with horse armor and it goes from there. And additionally, there's a company that's going to jump the gun and go too fast. And they're going to be, whoa, that's ridiculous. Let's tone down. So instead of dropping all the way down to here, they drop down to here. And everybody says, oh, well, that's better. And now suddenly you've just jumped up from here to there. And it just, I mean, that's how the video game industry progressed. It's how movies progress. It's how music progresses. It's how all of that progresses when it comes to the different online services that we consume on a daily basis at this point. And board games are no different. They're heading towards there. They already have been for a while. They will continue to do so as they find out that the real money is in software, not hardware. And that's just a simple thing of margin, right? While it costs a lot to develop the things, once you get a platform, well, delivering a digital pack of cards, it's not that hard. It's pretty cheap, especially when the alternative is making them in China and shipping them across the ocean to all the different continents in the world and then shipping them to thousands of people online. Much easier just to update a database table. So, I mean, at the end of the day, there's benefits and negative things as well. And I'm not trying to make a judgment call on that. I'm just saying that's where we're headed. It's where it's going. It's where the money is. And where the money is where people are going to push. And even if they're not business oriented, like I said, those creative people, the people that love to create things are inherently, at least some of them, wanting to continue to do that and seeing the benefits creatively of what the digital platform allows. And as I see companies already starting to struggle when it comes to sending out errata packs and updated rule books and making all these big games and delivering them and all that, I mean, the digitalization of that could really benefit a lot of people. Or the people that love these big board games and all the promise that they have, but at the end of the day, there's these big board games that just take so much to play. And it might actually be cheaper on us to do it, and it certainly would be easier on us to perhaps do it. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. What do you think? Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? I would love to hear your opinion on this. Where do you think the future of board games is going? And again, I'm not just wanting to look at like board games in a vacuum. I'm saying in the greater industry trends of many other industries, especially entertainment industries. Where are we headed to? How are we going through that? And when do we get the subscription service to board games? Let me know. All right, that's all I had, guys. Have a great rest of your day. I'll talk to you guys again very, very soon. Bye, guys.